MK, and I am back with a Follow the Sketch February, and today's sketch is a double. We're gonna do a double. Anyways. But it is also Thumbnail Thursday. What does that mean? That means that I get to take this sketch and shrink her down, but actually I'm not going to shrink it down. I'm going to chop it up. So my pockets that I have, minus all this good stuff over here, the pockets that I have are from We Are Memory Keepers. I absolutely love their pockets. They are so unique and so out of the ordinary. I love having these in my stash. So the first one that I have is an L shape that are 4x6s, and then this is a ginormous 6x8. Now I've played with one of these before here for what are the words? For Thumbnail Thursday. But the next one that I have is 3 4x6s and 1 6x12. Okay, I'm not sure if I've played with one of these on Thumbnail Thursday, but I have done it a Facebook Live with one of these and had a blast. So these are kind of sort of in my album like this. Okay, so I have all of my haul trucks facing each other, and then go here, and I've got all the light equipment, which we call support equipment, and then you flip it and we have like the support mining equipment. So there's two different types of support equipment. One is supporting the mechanics over here, basically like your service truck, your dump truck, forklift, things like that. And then you flip it this way and you've got support for the mine site, which is like your dozers and your water trucks, okay? And oh, my favorite, that's my favorite one. Anyways, when you work on this stuff, you kind of tend to have favorites. I do anyways. So basically for these two, okay, so this little guy right here and this little guy right here, both sides of those pockets, I am going to take this sketch and this one over here, I'm going to cut in half, and part of it will be here, and you flip it and the other part will be here. This one over here, since it is already in a small area, down like so, I'm going to split it in half as well, but only concentrate on this little section right here instead of trying to shrink everything down. Does that make sense? I hope so. If not, you guys are gonna watch it, and then it'll maybe go, oh, aha moment. Okay, what am I using? I am using a random bag of stuff that I happen to have left over from a mini album that I was making. I knew that I wanted to keep these pockets a little thin. So basically the thickest thing in here is chipboard, but I've already taken off several layers from the chipboard. So it's basically just the image and then maybe a few layers here and there. And who knows, I might not use any of this retro stuff because it has absolutely nothing to do with mechanics. Nothing at all. So I have all that. I have two Creative Memories. I'm not sure if they're photo mats or just, yes, they're 6.5 by 4.5 photo mats. And they're a little girly on the other side, which is kind of weird. But anyways, I have 4 6x6s that I just plan on maybe using, and they're embossed. They're both like shiny. Anyways, I also have this decoupage paper that I picked up from scrapbook.com. I just love typing in, I think I typed in gears, and a couple of these images showed up, and I just love the collage work of this. But this is like thinner than tissue paper, so when you put it on, it's almost like you stamped your paper onto your other paper. So it's a different effect when you use this paper, because it is definitely thinner than tissue paper. It's almost like one layer of a napkin. That's what that is. Okay? Alright, and then I have two pieces of the exact same thing from Creative Memories. Maybe like that. Anyways, doesn't matter. That it's like a texture stack. So this one looks like a newspaper, which is kind of weird because this is what basically all of our parts were shipped in. And then we've got this color here, which or this texture here, which I picked up from my tissue paper and the other two papers that I picked out, and then I just picked in this gray, or pulled in the gray, because of the gray print on this decoupage paper. All right, so I mean that's pretty much oh my god, you guys, I need to go find my words. I pretty much kept it pretty simple. I also have this thing, these things here, which are kind of sort of cool. They are from I don't know, Creative Embellishments. Is that their name? Creative Embellishments, and they're chipboard, and they're spark plugs. And the spark plugs all have different things on them. Like this one says travel, journey, discover, courage, happy, explore, life, and adventure. And actually I never even noticed that those words were on there. But one of the things that I was thinking on one of these pages, not this one, actually, I could do it on any of these pages. So you're a diesel, you're a diesel, you're a diesel, you're a diesel, and you're a diesel. Yeah, I could pretty much do it on any one of these because none of these pieces of equipment take spark plugs. And so I was thinking of like having one of the titles maybe here that kind of like the Pinocchio one. Instead of saying I got no strings, it's I got no spark plugs. You know, or no spark plugs here, or something like that. I could do like a random you know, little spark plug thing. Now I do have to say that that doesn't match unless I plan on turning the sketch and having these hearts go up and down. I could do that as well. I didn't intend to, but it just popped in my brain. So yeah, let me play with it and see what is going on. The first thing I'm going to do though is take all of these, because I probably don't plan on playing in the dead space. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I just know that I need to trim my photos down, trim all this paper up, so that way I have just what I'm working with. Okay? All right, let's get started and get going. All right, so now that all of the paper has been cut, some of the photos have been actually glued from back to back, I am going to work on the layout. Now, I actually took the 2-page sketch and I cut it in half. So down below on the bottom right is the portion of the sketch that I will be attempting to do with this kind of sort of lopsided 2-pager. So I'm basically going to try to make it look like it goes all the way across. But when I went through my stash, I realized that I pulled out kind of sort of not the right product. I don't want to say it's not the right product, but it was kind of like the more I looked at the sketch, the more I was like, oh, they just really used scraps. Like seriously, that's all it was. So I went back into my grungy bin and I pulled out my bag of just random scraps. That's all it is. When I'm finished with a project, and I go back into my category bin, I try to keep all of these tiny little things contained. I am a very like OCD person. I can't just have loose stuff hanging around. So everything needs to be contained. So anyways, I did look at maybe switching the papers because at first I was like, nah, I'm not sure if I'm gonna like this. I trimmed my my right photo a little bit too short. I should have left it at 6 inches. So I was kind of disappointed there because now the design is supposed to go off the page and I can't make it go off the page because it'll look funny. So I don't know what to do. So it does take me a little bit to like get going on this layout to like, okay, make up your marbles. But I did decide finally that I am going to take this right or left side picture and trim it down to a 3x4, which is what it was in the sketch. Yes. Whew, spit it out, girlfriend. So once I did that, and once I actually pulled out some of the scraps that I had, I went into my border strips that I also have in my grungy bin, and I have a bunch from Kaiser Craft. They're the cutoffs of the branding strip. And so I decided to go and pull out a couple of those that might also work as well, because the the design on them is quite tiny. I also have a bunch of these. I think they're Ellie and Viv or something. Viv. I don't remember, you guys. But it was a train collection. Like, yeah, it was all like steampunk collection. And they're all single-sided papers. And these gears were one of the papers. Like it was nothing but a cut-apart sheet. So I ran it through my scan and cut. And it cut out the outside images, but the inside images still were that stark white, and they kind of sort of bothered me. Now, I don't know where I disappeared to here. Oh, I was picking out an alpha because I absolutely loved the fact that it had two little brackets and the two brackets around the title. And it's like, wow, that's kind of like different the way that they're offset like that. So I really wanted to do that. I didn't want them too big because of the fact that it's going in a teeny tiny little pocket page, but I didn't want them too tiny either. So I picked out these two square brackets. I thought that they worked better than the little fancy frilly ones. And now I am trying to decide what I want to mat my photos with, because I definitely need a mat. That is not going to be an option to not mat them. And I can't make up my mind. I don't want brown on brown on brown on brown. I just felt like that's all this was brown. I could not find a green that looked really well. I could have used my 6x6s, but when I went to go and, like trial run them, no, they didn't. It was, for one, it was too much print, and I didn't want to waste it. Just having a teeny tiny little border. I just didn't. So I decided on black. I just chopped up this, Craft Perfect cardstock that I had from a Tonic Studio craft kit, and I just chopped it up, and that became my photo mats. Yeah, ta-da! And now I'm just taking my scraps that I had from the 6x6, playing with the She's Crafty mini paper pad class. I have a little bowl on my desk because I started accumulating scraps. Again, I have to have everything contained. It's a curse, you guys. It is definitely, it is a curse. Just to let you guys know that. Just trying to make sure that I like how everything is going on and designed, that I am committing. I'm officially committing. I'm doing it right here, getting her done. So the 6x6 page seems to go by a little bit easier than the 6x12 page does, but I do enjoy how it turned out. I really like how it looked, but it does feel like it's missing something up there because of that little heart. I had a heart going on, or in the sketch. Sorry, I didn't have one. In the sketch had a heart, and so I felt like I needed something as well. And then I totally spaced, seeing that it had like a bracket type, what is that called? Like label? I totally missed that. And so I thought, oh, dang it, I needed that too. And I happened to have this little date sign hanging out. And so I thought, oh, I'll just use that. And now I want to put this black piece. It is also a Kaiser Craft piece. And it actually is like, it looks like a whole bunch. It actually reminds me of the movie Aliens. I'm just saying it has a bunch of coils and wires and random things all in it, but it's such a tiny print that it worked really well being this small. So then I went to my border because it had a scallop, and I was like, ooh, what do I have that's a scallop? Well, I have a chain. Chains have scallops ish. And so I chopped up this one, and I plan on putting it at the top and at the bottom, because down at the bottom in the sketch, it had rickrack or zigzag. Is it called rickrack? I think it is, but it had one of those as well. And I thought, oh, perfect. I'll just double it up and it looks just fine. I did need one more other element. I just felt like it was a harsh line there. And since I had a circle with a wing going on my 6x8 page, I decided to bring over that same exact image on my 6x12 page. I also spend a lot of time fussy cutting out the white space in all of those images from that train collection. I cut most of it out, but some of the pieces I missed cutting out, so I apologize about that. Here in a minute, I am going to decide that I want to emboss my chains. I was looking for like a bronze. I didn't want it to be gold, but gold was all that I had at the moment. So, well, now. And so I just decided that gold will be fine. And then I decided to overburn it to make it bronzy. So it's not so stark gold. And that's basically what I did. I purposely overburned the embossing paste. No. Fabric. No. Powder. It's embossing powder. Oh my goodness, you guys. So now I'm just using liquid glue to adhere it. I should have done this last because it does, this lump and bump does make a little bit of a complicated little issue, because I'm just going to flip these papers over and do the other side of the layout on the other side of these papers. I don't intend to do two pieces of paper. So I'm just deciding whether or not I am forgetting anything. I double checked my sketch, made sure that all the elements were there, and yes, they were. So I flipped everything over, and now I have the, what is that, the right side? Yes, I have the right page that I'm going to work with. And again, I am chopping up my photo a little bit. I do leave my other photo at 6 by 6. Actually, no, it's at 6 1/8. No, 5 7/8 by 3 7/8. And then when I mat it, it will be 6 by 6. That's what I'm trying to spit out. Yes. And then I have this other photo I trimmed down to a 3 by 4 as well. It is going to represent the journaling spot, only it's not going to be scallopy at all. I don't do the scallop journal spots, you guys. That just, I don't know. It's just been too hard for me to figure that out. So here I am just trying to make a photo match. It isn't exactly the same black because I ran out of the black that I picked out from my Craft Perfect stash. But it won't be noticeable because these two pages will not even be side by side or next to each other. They just won't. So I don't think anybody will even notice except for while I am putting the page together. Now it is a smaller mat because I was working with what I had as a scrap. That is all there is to it. I am going through all of my pieces and deciding where I want it. I do go a little rogue on some of the sketch, but other than that, I do kind of sort of stick to all of the pieces. Like I can't do the heart thing because I don't have a big enough blank space to do the little 3 heart cluster, or I would have used more gears, of course. So I just stuck a gear up at the top, and I brought the scraps that are in the sketch, I brought them all the way across both my pages. And here's where I remembered that I was going to use this tissue, decoupage paper. Oh my god, I said it perfectly fine in the introduction. And I decided that since I forgot to use it on the other page, I'm not going to bring it over to this page. So yeah, that was, just a complete fluke that I totally spaced doing that. Now I'm just trying to figure out placement of all the things, and I do go rogue, you guys. It's just one of those things that I love all the elements and I want to use all the elements. And so I kind of sort of make sure that I have like, okay, this represents this represents that. But after that, it's like right here with this big, huge, I don't know what you would call that in all honesty, but I love it. And it's nowhere in the sketch, but I do enjoy having it. I did want to include these welding glasses, at least that's what I'm calling them, because the page that this dozer actually faces, the welder is standing in the bucket of the dozer and he's got his arms out to show how big the bucket actually is. And so it's like, I really want to use those. but it did not fit on any of the dead space. It didn't make sense in any of the dead space that I had available, and so I just decided not to use them. I do have other photos that I will be able to use those with, by the way. So now I'm just trying to commit. I am making sure that all the pieces are going back exactly how I had them laid. Yeah, right. I should have just glued them as I was laying them, but you never know, right? So instead of a scrap piece of paper down there between the gray and that, alien paper, I don't know what else to call it. I decided to use this tag that says right now. There is no meaning towards it. There's no reasoning behind it, but I wanted to. I wanted to use it. I did bring that green paper. It's like a blueprint, but it's green. So does that make it a green print? Anyways, it was of ships and boats and things like that, but it's so tiny and such a small scrap that it's not really noticeable. So it works out really well. And I'm just trying to get the right angle for that tag I tucked underneath and make sure that everything, still looks like I wanted it to. It doesn't look exactly, and I'm okay with that, but it is what it is. I do have a little bit of pauses here because my husband surprised me and came home early from work. And so I was super stoked, and he was talking to me about his day while I was kind of sort of finishing up this layout. I didn't want to pause like right here. This is where he is telling me something, and I don't want to seem rude. And I talk with my hands, by the way. But I didn't want to seem rude that I was not paying attention to him and like I was engaged in the conversation that he was saying. So that's it. And yes, I like I said, I did go rogue after a little bit because it seemed like I just wanted to fill in the dead spaces, but I also didn't want to deviate from the sketch too much. But I do like the end results. Now I did take off some more of the chipboard backing on this. I don't know what it is. It's an 8D. I don't honestly know what it is, but I really liked it. But I wanted it to go underneath that chipboard arrow, and I didn't want a huge bulge. And so basically I took off some more of the chipboard backing from the 8 card. And I found this Kaisercraft really old. It's not really old, but it's not from the workshop collection. I can't remember. I think it's from Factory 42, from their Factory 42 collection. And decided that I wanted to fill in that little circle. So now I'm asking my husband if it looks weird having this little banner thing go across the page, even though it won't even be on the same page. And he says, no, keep it. I said, okay, I will. So here are the close-ups. I am all done. I really, really enjoyed how this came out. At first I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull this off. I mean, that's like a miracle worker right there if I don't toot my own horn, because I don't like tooting my own horn. But I do truly enjoy how this turned out, and absolutely am just flabbergasted at the way that it looks in the pockets too. I did take the pictures outside of the pockets because they do tend to get very, very glary. I'm not too impressed with how the photos take on in the pockets. So I left those out and only took pictures of the sketch pieces as well. And I do want to encourage you all to go over to Scrapping Reflections Facebook group and check out everyone else that is playing along. All these sketches and all the takes on the sketches are just amazing, you guys. So be sure to check them out. The link is down below. My link is also down below if you guys are interested in following me in any social media or checking out my store. All right, I will check you guys all tomorrow. Bye.